everybody, the organizer, for inviting me. When I was coming here, I was thinking, what could I speak? I do not know more than people who have already suffered. And the silence of the responsible authorities who are constitutionally mandated to protect human rights of each and every person. And I think we live in an era where narratives are quickly changed, and these narratives shape the opinion of the people. And I think the most important currency of the narrative which is being used is the issue of self-defense. And when you look at the actions of the Israeli defense forces in Gaza and other areas, the issue comes up is the self-defense. You could read the entire encyclopedia of international law. I have not found where an occupying power has the right of self-defense. What I found and what I learned was that in the third preambular paragraph of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it says, if men are not to be compelled to resort to rebellion against tyranny, human rights must be protected. That is what is given in the law, not self-defense. This self-defense is important even in the context of the riots in Manipur. Because after all, it's the whole concept of self-defense which led to justification and inaction against the loss of about 500,000 arms, over 5 lakhs ammunitions. When you read the newspapers every day, you see one thing. That is, people who take away arms from the armories of the government of India, of the state of Manipur, they are called in the media miscreants. And those who write with their pen in this country are being treated as terrorists. So that's why the issue of, the narrative, the way our thoughts are being influenced matters. This is not the first riot in which your community is involved. When I had many friends, from the Kuki community, including those who founded Kuki Inti after the riots in 92, 93, 94. I think within a lifetime, to go through the same riots once again, I can't imagine how people are organizing themselves. So that's what I said in the beginning. When I was coming here, I literally didn't have anything to add more than what has been reported. I can't tell the story more painfully than the victims themselves, except possibly just to share the sentiments that, people who are affected by these riots need not have been affected. There was no need for it if the state took the responsibility. One can imagine that the riots take place and it continues for a week. In worst case scenario, it continues for 2 weeks. But when the riots continue after 5 months, and when you have the Prime Minister of this country expressing his sentiments with what is happening in the Gaza and Israel, and his silence on these territories of the incidents which are taking place within the territory of India, it should explain the kind of situation or country we are living in. It is as if there are no killings, therefore no conflicts. So that's why I think we are fighting an insurmountable battle. And the battles, I think somebody had said, hasn't started here. I just want to speak, or somebody who shares, had seen this kind of riots in many places in the Northeast. I think the people who organize this meeting, those who have come with their emotions, sentiments in these meetings, from both sides, please remember, it's not the communities at the end of the day who fight for justice. It's the victims. Protecting the victims, capacitating them to go through the entire process of establishing justice is not easy. It's so tiresome. You look at the riots in this country and look at the victims who fought. After a certain point of time, they were just left around to fend themselves without the support of the community. Somebody who believes in justice, they need to have a strategy how to defend, protect, empower the victims. Because ultimately when it goes to the investigation, when it goes to the court, none of the community representatives are going to testify. It's the victims themselves. Therefore, I think there is a need for a strategy how to empower the victims. And if you cannot have that strategy, once the riots go away, people will get along with their lives, the victims will be forgotten, then of course the struggle for justice is over. The struggle for justice for the victims is always adversarial. To establish beyond reasonable doubt is not an easy task. So I have seen the victims, and the victims are always left to fend themselves because people move away, there are new things come up in our lives. So that's why if you are interested in fighting for justice, apart from the political demands, please remember community needs and strategy to empower the victims, to keep them alive so that they can tell their stories. So that's part of the story. The second part which I wanted to mention is no community can fight back from empty stomach. The fights never takes place when you are busy with your own life and trying to, or you are engaged in a struggle to have 2 meals a day. Look at the policies of the government of India. I mean, I have not followed closely because I am not in a party in the proceedings in the Supreme Court. There is a scheme announced by the government of India which has been continuing for a long time. This scheme covers people who are displaced by the border violence in Indo-Pakistan border, people who are displaced by left-wing extremist violence, people who are displaced in the 51 conclaves in West Bengal, which are part of Bangladesh, have been given to India. Look at this package and the 1984 Sikh riots. The question is, if there are packages for different kind of communities who are displaced exactly because of the reasons you find your community displaced, I think you need to fight for inclusion in that. If you cannot fight for that, the biggest problem would be actually those who are displaced. My own estimate says at certain part of time about 70,000 people were displaced. So now when you are displaced, if you are not properly rehabilitated and resettled, you cannot fight back. So therefore, if you need information on these schemes, if you want to bring it to the attention of the committee which was established by the Supreme Court, as well as if you want to bring fresh petition regarding that, you could contact me, you could find in the net. There are lots of statements given on that. Please remember, those who are displaced by the situation in Kashmir, Kashmiri Pandits, they have a package. The Brus who are displaced in Manipur, they have a package. Ultimately, all the people who are displaced because of the similar situation. And the government of India, in my view, cannot make any kind of differentiation between same class of people in the same situation. So if you cannot ensure that the people who are displaced in this situation, I don't think you are going to be able to build a strong society, because you are a small community, 50,000 people displaced, not rehabilitated, not resettled. I think you need to think about it, because the policy of the government of India has been, we will offer 10 lakhs ex gratia to somebody who has died. But what about those people who cannot access their territories, lands, houses, they had to leave? What about the compensation? So this riot, this violence requires different kind of rehabilitation and resettlement package. And I am not talking about something new or only for yourself. I'm talking about something which already exists. You have already approached the court, and maybe these elements are not included. It's time to include them. The last point I wanted to mention, I think lots of people talked about the demands, including for separate administration. I think we are part of a debate, part of a narrative. The words, the terminologies which we use are important. Sometimes use of certain words can be misconstrued. I think what we need in this country, first, to counter the whole idea of a national state within the state of India. I strongly believe that there are many states in this country, they cannot even discuss about any kind of autonomy, any kind of administrative arrangement, not because they oppose it today, because they see as a unit which shall survive, maybe at certain point of time in history, it shall become an independent state. You talk about any state in this country, behind the opposition to any kind of division or any kind of devolution of powers is the inherent intention, or which is hidden intention, that we are a nation within ourselves. So that's one step. The second issue we need to remember when we talk about devolution is, I think rather than concretizing anything and everything, I think we as a country, despite the largest democratic country, I think we still have to have different kind of arrangements. Even one of the most dictatorial nations in the country, if you look at China, look at the administrative arrangements which they have. They completely have separate administrative arrangements where the majority Hans are ruling. They have a separate arrangement for some of the provinces like Tibetan Autonomous Region, Xinjiang, etc. You cross the sea, you go to Hong Kong, the arrangement for that particular region is different. Then you go to Macau, you possibly cannot even feel it is part of China. Within India, I think there is enough administrative arrangements. I think it is not about separation. It's about devolution of powers. Devolution of powers as a means for development. And it is on this concept that devolution of powers had taken place in India, where the district magistrates have become the administrative unit for everything. There is a separate fund which the central government gives to the state government, union territories, but there is a separate fund which is directly implemented through the district magistrates. So I think what the cookies need to focus is about sufficient administrative arrangements for devolution of powers. And ultimately, I think we all have to live together. I think I would say that there has to be avenues where we could talk together, speak together. But the last point would be accountability. If we want to establish accountability, as I said in the beginning, you have to focus on the victims. If the community doesn't support the victims, doesn't empower them, I think the entire struggle for justice will fail. Thank you.